Well, good day everyone, and thank you for coming back to the next video. Guys, I woke up this morning with Enoch 60 on the brain, literally, all morning long. Enoch 60 was just pounding in my head. And whenever I get these types of things, I realize I need to take a look at Enoch 60. And another friend of mine, another Watchman friend, he had alerted me to Enoch 60 a few weeks ago, and I just realized I need to take a second look at it. So this is my channel here. These are my videos. The top three popular videos that I've ever produced in the last 4.5 years. The most popular one is Enoch 60, which speaks about the cosmic event and the coming of the sixth seal. Multiple planets seen on a South Carolina webcam, and end time events may begin at Christmas time. Okay, so let's go to my study document for Enoch 60, which I have prepared this document many times in the past, and every single time I was wrong because I was misinterpreting the words in Enoch 60. So let's go ahead and read Enoch 60, the text. And I think you guys can see this. We'll go through, and I want you guys to see the text first. Okay, so it goes like this. Enoch chapter 60, verse 1. In the 50th year, and in the 7th month, on the 14th day of the month, of the lifetime of Enoch, in that parable I saw the heaven of heavens shook, that it shook violently, and the powers of the Most High, and the angels, and the thousands of thousands, and another group of angels, myriads and myriads, were agitated with great agitation. And then I looked, and the Ancient of Days was sitting on the throne of his glory. We see that in Revelation 4 and 5. While the angels and the saints were standing around, a great trembling came upon me, and terror seized me. My loins were bowed down and loosened, my reins were dissolved, and I fell on my face. The holy angel Michael, another holy angel, one of the holy ones, was sent who raised me up. And when he raised me, my spirit returned, for I was incapable of enduring the vision of violence and the agitation and the concussion or collision of heaven. Then Michael said to me, "Why are you disturbed at the vision? Until now has existed the day of mercy, or mercy has existed on the planet up until this point. And God has been merciful and long-suffering towards all who dwell on the earth. And when the day and the power and the punishment and the judgment come," remember Psalm 50? That's when judgment comes, "which the Lord of Spirits have prepared for those who do not worship the righteous law." Remember Jesus is the Word, the Torah, the Logo. "And for those who deny the righteous judgment, and for those who take his name in vain, that day is prepared. For the elect, a covenant, but for the sinners, an inquisition," which means judgment and recompense is coming. Okay, so Enoch has this vision of this concussion event, this huge, here it is right here, guys, verse 2, this huge collision in the heaven of heavens, which we would say is in our space. It's outside the earth, outside the atmosphere. Now, we know that there's been a reference to some type of event called the cosmic event. We read about it. Modern day prophets have spoke about it. I've seen all sorts of things. Here's a modern day prophet. I forget what her name is. Sound the Alarm, Warrior Princess. The cosmic event. She speaks about it. Others have spoken about it. Bond's blog speaks about it, how there's the cosmic event, 3 days of red skies and 3 days of darkness. And during the darkness is when people get transformed. Okay. So I'm taking the words of Enoch and I'm saying, I think I know what this means. Okay, so the problem is, so Enoch has this vision on the 7th month, the 14th day of the month. And anybody would looking at that, and for me, for years, I looked at that and kept thinking, oh, that's going to be the 14th day of the 7th month. That's the day right before the Feast of Tabernacles. But it has this verse in here, and I'm sorry, this part of this verse, it says, of the lifetime of Enoch. So only if we knew the birthday of Enoch, we could figure out when this is. So that's what I've done up here in the beginning. So I speak about here in the opening of this, I speak about the fact that there's going to be Enoch 60 will have this great agitation. the 3 days of darkness, the 3 days of red skies, the 7th month, the 14th day of the month of his lifetime. So we got to find a calendar, and we need to reference a calendar with Enoch's birth. And although there is nothing in the Bible, nothing in the book of Jubilees, nothing in the book of Jasher that gives us this reference to Enoch's birthday, it appears there is Jewish tradition that on the date of Shavuot or Pentecost, that's the date that Enoch was born and he was taken. Remember, it says that Enoch walked with God and then he was not. And then in Hebrews, I forget what chapter it is, chapter 5, it says that Enoch was translated. It doesn't say he was violently kidnapped like the rapture. It says he was translated. Now, Chuck Missler, he also assumed, he looked at the information that the Jews have, and he agrees with the Jews, the Jewish tradition, that Enoch was born and was translated on his birthday, which was Pentecost. Okay? So, I'm not going to go through the actual, well, I'll pull the calendar up in a minute. So therefore, the method to determine the date of Enoch chapter 60, verses 1 through 5, can be to look at Enoch's birthday for Pentecost of 2021 and assume that's the first month. So Pentecost would be Enoch's birthday, and that would be his first month. And for this particular year, and we have to assume, because Pentecost was early this year, we have to assume that 1 month that we have to throw into the calendar. That would put Pentecost on, there's a helicopter, guys, on June 13th or June 13th, which for a converted calendar would be the 3rd day of Sivan, or it's Tammuz 3. Regardless of all that, if you find the 14th day of Enoch's 7th month, the 14th day of the 7th month of the lifetime of Enoch would fall on Kislev 16, or on the standard calendar, Tibet 16, which is December 20th. Guys, so you can go to you go to my Hebrew calendar here, and let's see here. This was Pentecost, May 16th, but remember, the barley wasn't ripe in March, so you got to add another 4 weeks to that to bring you to June 13th, which is Tammuz 3 on the standard Hebrew calendar. Guys, I don't want to confuse anybody, but so you take Tammuz 3 would be the first day, the first month, that's his birthday, and when you get down here to Tibet 3, that would be the first day of the 7th month. You add 14 days, and it lands on Tibet 16, December 20th, which would be the reference to the date made in the Book of Enoch. I know this is really stretching it, guys. So here we go. We're going to go with what we got right now. So that would mean December 20th would be the concussion day, would be the cosmic event day. Okay, so I've done this before. I'll do it again if this doesn't happen, but here we are. All right, so I have a couple other things to look at here. Psalm 19. This is what drew me to make this video, is because I realized that Psalm 19 with December 20th is the last day of the circuit of the sun. So if you look at how the sun moves through the sky, there's something called, I can't even pronounce it. I'm going to let the computer pronounce it for us.
Analemma.
This thing called analemma, which is a circuit for the sun. And you can see here's a picture of, it's 7 o'clock on some day throughout the year, and you can see the sun makes this figure 8 shape in the sky. And all the way at the bottom is the winter solstice, and all the way at the top is the summer solstice. So this is like the circuit of the sun. Okay? And we get to the end of the circuit on December 20th, and on December 21st, the circuit begins again. And you can see it here. Here's another picture of it. So when I realized from Enoch 60 that it was pointing to December 20th of 2021, and I got there in a very strange way, but I got there. When I realized that, I all of a sudden remembered Psalm 19. Now, I have a document. You guys can download this. But in Psalm 19, this is essentially when the bridegroom leaves his chamber and comes to the earth to gather up his bride. And this verse 6 is the key, okay? It says, the sun's rising is from the end of the heavens, and its circuit is to the end of them, and there is nothing hidden from its heat. So this right here, to me, in my opinion, is in a roundabout way speaking of the end of the circuit of the sun, which is December 20th. It's the cycle. The cycle begins all over, meaning that December 21st, the length of the day, the day's length will grow longer. And up until December 21st, that's when the day's length goes shorter. So it's like the end of the circuit here. And it appears, when you read this verse, this whole chapter, to me, that I realized that it could be pointing to that. So I have a document here on Psalm 19. You guys can download this. All right. Psalm 19:6 speaks of a circuit, a coming around the bend, as one would say. At this time, the Lord will come out of his place, heaven, and come to the earth like a bridegroom for his bride. A possible interpretation would be that this would occur at the end of the sun's circuit, December 20th. And then it goes like this. So let me just go ahead and quickly go through this. It's a real short chapter. It's easy to go through. It says, the heavens declare the glory of the God. So there's signs in the heavens, okay? And the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Day to day pours out speech. Night to night reveals knowledge. There is no speech. There are no words whose voice is not heard. The voice goes out through all the earth. Okay, so in Isaiah 30:30, it says, the voice of the Lord is heard. Isaiah 30:30 is when the entire world is going to hear the voice of Jesus. And it's going to freak people out. When you read Isaiah 30:30, the Assyrians, the modern day satanic worshipers, are going to freak out on that day. Isaiah 30:30 is when we get called to the holy mountain, the new city, Jerusalem. My thought is, on this day, Psalm 48 is going to be fulfilled. That's when the kings of the earth look up into the sky and they see God's dwelling and they panic. You guys have seen my Psalm 48 study. Psalm 48 shows us that the kings of the earth, prior to the sixth seal, they look up in the sky and they see, let me just, bear with me, guys. This is all coming together. So I know that there are many theories about there on how all this works out. And I can say with absolute certainty that the guy on the white horse is Jesus, and he's coming for his bride. He is the conqueror that's called out in Micah chapter 1, verse 15. He's the guy on a horse, the most handsome of men, who goes out with his arrows, and he conquers the world, Psalm 45. He's the guy riding the horse with the bow in Habakkuk 3. And he's going to gather his anointed on that day. He's going to stop time. That's what it says in Habakkuk 3. There are no verses that have the Antichrist, the Assyrian, riding a horse with a bow. That's somehow just been made up to be what man thinks. The beast system does not come into power at the Revelation 6 first seal. It's Jesus on that horse, since there are so many verses that point to it. So in Psalm 48, you see, it says, great is the Lord our God, greatly be praised. The city of our God, his holy mountain, beautiful in elevation, high and lifted up, is the joy of the whole earth. The Mount Zion in the far north, above the North Pole, the city of our great King. This surely isn't the dirt hill over in Jerusalem. See, I don't know how people can think that. That messed me up for years. I would read that verse, and I kept thinking, how can that dirt hill over in Jerusalem, earthly Jerusalem, be described here? That made no sense to me. And the kings of the earth are going to look at the dirt hill, and as soon as they see the dirt hill in earthly Jerusalem, that city known as Sodom, Revelation 11, the kings of the earth are going to freak out. They're astounded. They're going to panic. No. It's because it's the city in the sky that's about the size of the moon, with 12 foundations, with a light at the center, where each foundation is some type of gem, and that when the light The light shines out. Remember that light shining on the city? You can't put a basket over it. Jesus talked. That's what this is. The kings are going to see this thing, and they're going to freak out, and they're going to run like a woman in labor. But at the same time, the psalmist writes that there's a group of people who have seen this city of our Lord. It's the city of our God that's established forever. And then they're going to take a walk about Zion, go around her, take a tour, number her towers, consider her ramparts, go about through her citadels, that they may tell the next generation the second fruits, that this is our God forever and ever. He will guide us. I don't know why people don't know these things. I mean, like the long-time guys. Why haven't we heard about this before? And what I mean by that is, why is this just now coming out? I've never heard a sermon on Psalm 48. So it sounds like I'm complaining here, but I feel like we've all been shortchanged all these years. These things, these gems in the Bible, they've gone unnoticed for so long. No one studies this stuff in the churches. Okay, I'll get down from my soapbox. Okay, here we go. Psalm 19. Which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber, like a strong man, run its course with joy. It's rising from the end of heavens, and its circuit is the end of them. Here's that circuit, Strong's 8622. I can't pronounce the word. Coming around, circuit. So the end of the sun's circuit is December 20th. Okay? And we learn this word circuit, this Strong's 8622, that word is used 4 places in the Bible. It's used Exodus 23, verse 22, and it says, "You shall observe the feast of the ingathering at the circuit's end." It's translated end of the year, but it's still the same word, circuit. I find that interesting. We learn about this in Exodus 23. Okay. And then it says here, "The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The rules of the Lord are true, and the righteous all together. The gathering together at the mountain of the Lord, the new city Jerusalem," just as it says in Isaiah 30:30. See, in Isaiah 30 is the last moment that we will not see the Lord. This would be the point. Let me just go here a second. When Jesus rose from the dead, Mary was looking for the Lord on the day of the resurrection. It was the first day of the week. She's running around looking for him. They thought his body was stolen. And when she ran up to him, she said, "Rabboni," which means teacher. So look, when you read Isaiah 30, you get to Isaiah 30, we have that word teacher being used again. "For a people shall dwell in the heavenly Mount Zion, in the new city Jerusalem. You shall weep no more." That's right. "He will surely be gracious to you at your sound of your cry. As soon as he hears it, he will answer you. And though the Lord has given you the bread of affliction, the water of affliction, the bread of adversity, yet your teacher will not hide himself any more, but your eyes shall see your teacher." Just like Mary, when she saw him, when she was crying out looking for him. This is the moment prophetically in the Old Testament, buried in Isaiah chapter 30, that we've never heard a sermon on, ever. This is the moment when those who are eagerly waiting to see the Lord face to face will finally get to see him. And he's going to say, "And your ears shall hear the word. Behold, saying to you, this is the way, walk in it. And when you turn to the right or when you turn to the left, he'll tell you which way to go." Simple as that. And some people may have some idols. "Then you will defile, then you will kick to the curb your carved idols overlaid with silver and gold." I can't help but think, are that Christmas ornaments? I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm just reading what it says. "Then you will defile," which means you get rid of. You'll throw in the trash can "your carved idols overlaid with silver and gold, plated metal images. You will scatter them as unclean, and you will say, 'Begone.'" I've always thought that might be Christmas time. And here we are. Okay. So then it says this. It talks about, "Moreover, the light of the moon is like this." Here's when the sun's going to shine for 7 days straight. "Behold, the name of the Lord comes from afar, burning with anger, rising thick smoke. His lips are full of fury. His tongue a devouring fire. You shall have a song as in the night when a holy feast is kept. gladness of heart as one sets out to the sound of the flute to go to the mountain of the Lord, the rock of Israel, the new city Jerusalem. And then the Lord will cause his majestic voice to be heard all across the world, the descending blow, his arm to be seen, and furious anger, flame of devouring fire. This is the cosmic event day, with a cloudburst and storm of hailstones. The Assyrians, the satanic cabal of people who worship Satan, who are our enemy, they will be terror-stricken at the voice of the Lord when he strikes them with his rod. That word rod in Hebrew means half-tribe. And every stroke of the appointed staff. So the Lord's going to have an appointed staff. He's going to be beating these guys with. Well, remember it says the Lord appointed 70 others to go into every town and place he was about to go. These, I think, are the 144,000. And the Lord, with every stroke of his 144,000 that the Lord lays on them, will be the sound of tambourines and lyres, will be music to our ears. Battling with a brandished arm, he, the Lord, Jesus, will fight with them, his 144,000. So when this goes down, Jesus is going to kill whoever the future Antichrist is. He's going to kill all the kings of the earth, but people struggle to know that. We'll look at those verses in a second. For a burning place, a pile of wood, has long been prepared. Indeed, for the king of the Assyrians is made ready. Its pyre made deep and wide. A pyre is a pile of wood ready to be burned. With fire and wood in abundance, the breath of the Lord, like a stream of sulfur, will kindle this pile of wood to burn the king of the Assyrians on the night that we're taken to the holy city in the sky. That's a lot. I know that, guys. Sorry about that. But so if we go back to Psalm 19, we hear about this voice going out on all the earth. That's that voice. Okay. Enoch 60, Psalm 48. Here, I just want to quickly talk about this for a second. I've done a video. I'm not going to go through this right now. I've done videos on how Jesus is going to kill all the kings of the earth, including the future Antichrist, right before the sixth seal, or during the seals. And this is exactly what Jesus says. I really think a lot of us, me too, struggle to believe that Jesus is going to do what he says he's going to do. In Matthew 13, he gives a parable of the wheat and the tares. He says in Matthew 13, gather first the tares to be burned in the fire at the beginning of the harvest. That's the words of Jesus. That's not mine. That's what we see in Isaiah 30. 2 Thessalonians 2, the man of lawlessness is killed at the gathering of the saints. And fire comes out of his breath, is what it says. Habakkuk 3, Jesus rides a horse with a bow, kills the head of the house of the wicked when he's saving his people. Isaiah 24, the kings of the earth are gathered and sent to the pit of hell just prior to the sixth seal. Isaiah 30, as the bride is raptured, we just read this, to the mountain of the Lord, the Assyrian is thrown into a pile of wood and burned. Daniel 7, just after speaking blasphemies, the future beast is killed, body destroyed, burned in the fire. Yet people think that somehow we have to be running and hiding. Jesus is going to take care of all these guys on day one. Okay. Revelation 19, please let's be reminded that at Revelation 19, when Jesus comes on a white horse, the beast and the false prophet are thrown alive into the lake of fire. They're not killed there. They're killed early on. They're killed before the 7 years. I'm not going to go through this. I've gone through this many times. I just want to go through these here. So when all these kings of the earth are sent to the pit of hell, like it says in the Bible, let me just go to that one real quick. Yeah. On that day, the Lord will punish the host of heaven, the fallen angels in heaven, the kings of the earth, including the beast, the future beast. They will be gathered together as prisoners in a pit. They'll be shut up in prison, and for many days they'll be punished. Then the moon will be confounded, and the sun ashamed. That's the sixth seal. For the Lord will reign on Mount Zion. Here's the Isaiah 30 reference we just looked at. Here's Daniel 7. Daniel 7, verse 7 to, 12, is the little horn being killed right away when he opens his mouth. After this, I saw in night visions a fourth beast, terrifying and dreadful, exceedingly strong. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke into pieces and stamped what was left with its feet. It was different from all the other beasts and had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up from them another horn, a little horn, before which it killed 3 others, were plucked up from the roots. And behold, this horn had the eyes of a man, with its mouth speaking great things. The minute the guy opens up his mouth, the minute the little horn opens up his mouth to the world to proclaim how great he is, what does Jesus do? And I looked, and because of the sound of the great words that the horn was speaking, and as I looked, the beast was killed. Its body was destroyed and given over to be burned with fire. This is him getting sent to the pit of hell right in the beginning. And then in Revelation 9, which happens before Revelation 11 and 12 and 13, it says, "And a 5th angel with his trumpet, I saw a star fall from heaven." That's Satan falling out of heaven, with a key to the shaft of the bottomless pit. And he lets all the people out, these bad guys out, and then they come to rule the world for 7 years through Revelation 11, 12, and 13. So none of that has anything to do with Revelation 6, 7, and 8. Revelation 6, 7, and 8 is Jesus himself coming back and harvesting the earth. Okay. By the way, Revelation 14 has Jesus harvesting the earth again. That would appear to be harvesting the earth after the 7 years, or during some time during the 7 years, because Revelation 7 has a gathering in front of the throne. So I know that's a lot to swallow right then and there, guys. I'm just going to show you something real quick. So this right here, this is the first and second fruits gathered to the throne. They've come out of the Great Tribulation, which is the 6th seal. See, if you think the Great Tribulation is 3.5 years or 7 years, that's where everybody gets confused. Because Jesus himself and John, they define the tribulation. So let's look at the tribulation. So when we look at the tribulation, according to John, although John doesn't call it the tribulation is described as the sun becoming black as sackcloth and the moon like blood. Stars fall from heaven, and the sky is vanished and rolls up like a scroll. Okay, let's go to Matthew 24. And we see how Jesus defines the tribulation. But immediately after the tribulation of those days, not years, not months, but days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. This is how Jesus defines the tribulation. Let me highlight that. Red. And go over here. Go to the 6th seal again. When you open the 6th seal, that red. So the 6th seal, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. The 6th seal is the Great Tribulation, because Jesus says this. He says, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. So immediately after the seals 1 through 5, then the 6th seal happens. This is the Great Tribulation, because right in Revelation 7, we see the reference to the Great Tribulation and the people who were brought out of the world at the 6th seal. Now, that's how I see it, guys. We don't get to any of this other stuff. This is when the 7 years begins. You get references to the witnesses witnessing for 3.5 years, and you got the beast that rises up. See, and when the 2 witnesses have finished their testimony, the beast that rises up from the bottomless pit, it came up from the bottomless pit. Who sent the beast to the bottomless pit to begin with? The guy who sent the beast to the bottomless pit is what's mentioned here in Isaiah 24. On that day, the Lord will punish the host of heaven, in heaven, the kings of the earth. They will be gathered together as prisoners in a pit, the abyss, same thing. They'll be shut up. The moon will be confounded and the sun ashamed. That's sixth seal language. Okay. I just wanted to go over that because I know there's a lot of confusion about that. And I didn't come to that realization maybe 2 years ago. Okay. I think that's it. Let me just check my web. Nope, no more, guys. With that, one other thing from yesterday, the other video, the 7 days. Let me just look that up real quick. A grain of sand. If this is all going to happen, the grain of sand prophetic word from 2 years ago says something about 7 days and white clouds in the skies. Oh, golly. Hang with me for a minute, guys. Oh. Okay, I got to do the old-fashioned way and go back to my old video, and I'm not finding it. To see that if we think we're... Here, this one. This is what he said. He said, white clouds that are not normal to the eye will appear 7 days before the mirror of eternity arrives. So what I didn't say, I just realized I didn't say any of this. I need to go over this right now. Is what does all this look like? If Enoch's date... So this is another scribbling that I had years ago. I thought I knew how all this was going to work, and it seems like this is still the case. But the Enoch 60 date is right here. The red pen. This is the 14th day. This is the cosmic event day. But the day of darkness appears to be... Here's the red skies. The day of darkness is like the 23rd, 24th, or 25th. So let's just say it's the 24th. Let's just go backwards 7 days. So basically on the 17th of December, roughly, is when we should see, the 16th or 17th day of December, is when we should see these clouds in the sky. White clouds that are not normal to the eye will appear worldwide 7 days before the mirror of eternity arrives. It is the hair of the celestial bodies, the dust of their tails, that will be visible to all. So there's a YouTuber, Jeffrey, I forget what his name is, Magaha. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. He had a reference on one of his videos where he was saying that Christmas Eve at 1 o'clock in the morning is when he thinks something's going to happen from a cosmic perspective. Well, you just go back. If that's when the days of darkness begin, you go back 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, December 17th. So December 17th is when we ought to see these white clouds in the sky. So with that, guys, I'll let you go. Have a great day, and God bless you.